Hello there. Hi there. Everybody in the chat room and everybody watching and listening. Okay, 1 second, please. I made a mistake. Mm. So, I actually am going to have to ask you to keep your eye, or better said, keep your ear on my sound quality because actually I made a mistake and in my Spanish life I had audio problems. It was cutting off and it didn't sound right. So now I actually hooked up a different microphone for the first time. And actually, upon entering in this studio, I forgot to hit OK on it. So actually, I'm back to my other previous microphone setting, which wasn't working well in the Spanish channel. So anyway, if you notice that anything is going wrong, let me know. I am not sure I will be able to do anything about it though. Sounds good so far. Thank you very much, Happy Girl and everybody else. However, in the Spanish live, it just started cutting out a bit later. So let's hope it doesn't happen here. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much, Not a Troll, Anub, Art Holmes, all the moderators who are here, Daniel James, Eva Carolina, JMV, El Laurent, and everybody who is watching and listening who is not participating in the chat too. Hello, Mick Flair, Frank Gill, C, Ocean Dell, Happy Girl, and everybody else present. Thank you, everybody, very much. Anika Shinitsuka. Well, I'm just rambling just to get this started. I'm actually, as usual, even on this occasion, I have some notes. So some things I'm going to have to go through there and express and communicate. And I will not be looking at the chat much in the beginning through that time, maybe a little bit here and there. But maybe I will respond to your questions at the end. Thank you very much, Crystal Rose and Lyrin versus the Matrix. Everybody there watching. Well, I'm very actually glad that I can be here with you again. It was not an easy week for me and for us, of course, not only because of Aneka, but also because I couldn't be there to clarify some confusions and doubts that I have been seeing here and there, especially this time in the Spanish community. Elmira, thank you very much. I'm saying especially because normally it's like the English world usually has more doubts or questions or things like that. But this time I saw it more in the Spanish channel, in the Spanish community for some reason. So it was hard for me not to be able to come here, and I had to contain myself and not to be able to respond to some of these doubts and confusions. But there was, of course, also a lot of support this week and words of gratitude toward Aneka, because this is what this video is going to be about. So thank you very much for all that love coming toward Aneka. For sure, she's receiving it in whatever way, wherever she is. And I don't think she is far. But let's get to that a bit later. So, looking at my notes, dividing my screen, 1 second, please. I want to go over some points. You will understand much better what happened actually that led to this situation, because I do understand this was sudden for you, and you may not understand what's going on, why did this happen. uh, for us it wasn't sudden. It was something actually that we were always aware of Aneka's condition mentally and physically, and I'm going to explain that to you so you'll be able to understand. You'll also understand why we actually didn't share that before. We'll talk about medpods because that's one of the biggest questions out there. How come she died having all that technology? Um, and I will just mention, I'll talk about different things about Aneka's life in general. Now, um, how did when this happened, when Aneka passed away officially, well, she did pass away on the 5th of November. Yaski wasn't online for a few days in the beginning. So, because this hit them as well, even though they were aware of the situation and it wasn't sudden for them, still it hit them and they had to process a lot of things. And Yaski simply wasn't in the mood to come right away and tell us the news. Also, she was a bit nervous about telling us as well. So it took her a few days also to come talk to us about this, inform us of Aneka's death. And well, it took us more or less 2 days to coordinate, with Robert. Robert is not in Finland now; he's actually traveling in Barcelona. So it was hard for me to even communicate with him to coordinate this because we wanted to communicate this at the same time. So it took us 2 days. Um, Thank you very much, John Cochrane and Technique. Hi, everybody. When she told us, yes, about this, well, it was late at night. I was by myself in the server, and I knew that she was sick, and I knew that she was in a very serious condition and situation. Still, though, when she finally said that she passed away, when Yaski said Aneka passed away, it hit me like it was like a very heavy sensation in my heart that it's still there, of course, and I cried. Honestly, her death impacted me even more than the death of my own father. My dad died a year ago. Interestingly, he died exactly on the same day, 5th of November last year, 2021. So this year, 5th November again, another death, and it impacted me more. And I think it's because my dad simply wasn't in my life anymore on a daily basis. He didn't form my reality. And with Aneka, even though for the last months the interactions were not daily at all, she was taking a break from the interactions. You will understand that as well. But in the previous years, it was almost every day, and Aneka was always on, always consulting things. We were consulting back and forth. So she was one of my best friends here, and actually my only friend, because after Svaru, first it was Svaru, then it was Aneka, Yaski, other friend, of course, then Athena. But for all that time, 5 years almost, the duration of the whole contact experience, it was Aneka, and she was always there. And I always say this, I don't have friends. I don't talk to many people. I say this not to victim myself, but it's my own choice. I'm okay with that. But Aneka was that. Yaski is that. Athena was that. Before Sbaru. I don't have any other friends. They are my only friends. These are my only people I talk to. So knowing about Aneka's passing, of course, it's leaving a huge hole in me, a huge, emptiness because she filled so much of my day and Robert's day and many other people's days as well, because we are not the only ones she talked to, as we always say. So I felt quite yeah disturbed, and it's just very strange, because we started this experience with Varo Ferra. She passed in her own way, then Aneka, and now we are just talking to Yaski at this point, and the Taleka is also in communication, but the communication passes through Yaski for now. So, maybe talking a little bit about Aneka. Uh, I'm not going to tell you details because actually I am preparing a video, which is going to be a separate video about her life that she actually explains herself. And this was written by Anika about, I don't know, a year ago or so in English uh, for Gaia. For Gaia. She wrote that episode for Gaia about herself, and it was never used. I was supposed to use it at some point myself, but I didn't know when. It was like put away on the shelf, and I think this is a perfect moment now to share that video where she herself, in her own words, explains her life, how she grew up in Temer, what made her want to come to Earth, and all that. And I will also include some short video messages, audio messages from a couple of people for Aneka. So that's going to be one of the future videos. So because of that video, I'm not going to tell you now the details of all her life. That'll be just too much. But just generally overview, she came here around 2015, 2016 to Earth as to learn about the new, about the civilization on Earth, and she was very interested in extraterrestrial relations and other cultures. And she came here as a cadet. She didn't know much. She didn't have many responsibilities. I remember in the beginning when we were talking to them as Farofera and Asket. Robert mainly was talking to Asket. Aneka was there in the background. She wasn't participating much in the conversations. She was there kind of coordinating the communication. And then every now and then she would say something if she wanted to contribute, but she wasn't like the main one. She was in the shadows. And then more and more, she was coming out more, believing in herself, sharing more, learning about humans more and more, also growing in responsibilities because she was noticed on the ship that she had skills and she had desire and drive. So she was put in charge of the intelligence group um, on the ship, and that involved a lot of very, very, very serious responsibilities. Um, she was very happy. She was always super happy. Actually, she was the one that always talked the most. They always told us that, for example, if they went to the dining room, the area where they ate, uh, everybody. Aneka was the one that was heard the most. But she was very active and she's very social, outgoing, bubbly, and happy. A very fast talker, super fast, like that. And everybody was always enjoying her company. And we know that she loved to dance and loved music. And we exchanged a lot of music. We shared the music we liked, etc. So as she was growing in responsibilities, she discovered the passion for this project, even though kind of maybe officially, yes, I guess it started as a Svaruoferra project, but Aneka fastly joined the project and she found her purpose in it. She found that it was something that she was truly um, enjoying, and she was doing this out of pure care for humanity. She just like really wanted to pass what she knew and help with what she was discovering, because that was also part of her job to discover, gather intelligence, especially during that difficult time of pandemic and all that. So actually, this is when I think it all went down for her, for many of them, but especially for her because she was so closely involved with that research about the papayas and all that. As Robert says, acupuncture. So so that's, I believe, more or less at that around that time when she was beginning to investigate what's happening on Earth in the last 2 years, with what situation, and especially when she started to do the lab report, when they had, the analysis of the product, and they were discovering really, really, really bad negative things there, and it affected her very much what was discovered in that report. That report and many other reports are actually not found on YouTube. So if you are a newcomer and you just look at the YouTube channel, you will not see those super important and delicate reports done by Anika because it's censored here. So we only published it on Odyssey. So if anybody can put up the Odyssey link, thank you very much. That's our channel in Odyssey, and there is a whole playlist I made with the information about the situation in the last 2 years, and the papayas and all that. Papaya is a code word. So uh, And also, of course, you can find it on our website. So all that was affecting her very, very, very much. What was happening to humanity, what they were doing to humanity, how they were making them suffer and all that, and how they were abusing of humans. Also, what was making her especially frustrated was to see how humans were not able to get it. I'm talking about the mass of humanity, how they were just falling into these agendas one after another. Thank you very much, Matthias, for putting up yes, the websites. So she just was so overwhelmed by the level uh, of human inability to understand the situation. And even I wasn't affected by that so much. I mean, of course I was. Of course I am. That's why I'm doing this work. It's my purpose as well. It's something I'm super passionate about. But the way she was taking it so personally, and we spent hours, I was telling her, giving her some advice about how to approach this or how to see this, how to perceive this, so it doesn't affect her so much. She was taking it really very, very personally. Like, it was her responsibility to let people know what's going on. Like, every single situation that was happening. Then with the Trump, with the elections, with this or that, everything she was discovering through her intelligence circles, and especially papaya situation. Everything. She was on top of everything. She was always alert, and she felt this responsibility to pass every single piece of information in that subject to the people, so they can like wake up and get this and not give in. And she was just so desperate to see people's falling into it. And as I said, for me, it affects me, but at the same time, there is this part of me that is kind of detached from it as well. At the same time, uh, that's why I feel it's not affecting me as much, or I'm able to maintain some sort of still happy vibe despite everything, because I feel it's not my responsibility to be saving the world, even though in a way I do want to give as much as possible, but I'm not here to save the world. I can't. So Anika had that feeling of that, wanting to do more, and she was always feeling like she was not doing enough, like it's not enough. Um, Feeling of helplessness, of this, and I'm talking about that situation in the past 2 years. That was huge for her. She took it upon her shoulders to explain the situation to the people, and um, as many of us, myself including, she fell into that error of thinking she was not doing enough. A lot of us actually have that complex of thinking that we are not being enough, that we are not doing enough, and she was she was a prime example of that. She was always talking about how she would like to do more, and I was somehow, trying to make her feel better. And hey, you just accept it, just do the best you can, and then accept the cycle of things. Humanity has to figure it out by themselves. Um, but she just couldn't take it. Seeing what they do to people, it was hurting her a lot, and that's when her mood and her overall level of happiness started to go down. I feel like that's when it started more or less taking her down little by little. And you have to also remember that not only they have pressures, dealing with situation on Earth, but they are also having all kinds of inner interpolitical uh, situations and conflicts happening. There are threats from the Federation. There are threats, from shady levels of the Federation. Um, Also, she was doing intelligence agencies work. That was also a lot of pressure on her. She was very young. She was still here, young, learning things, and suddenly all these matters fell on her shoulders. Um, Talking about the Federation threats, well, yeah, I don't know so much about it, but I know that the Federation was never super interested in what open-mindedly what the Taigetans was doing. Reality forecast, no, she was not murdered. You understand exactly what happened. She died um, on her own. So, because it's not that she was threatened, the whole Taigetan team was threatened. They are always troublemakers and not very well perceived by the Federation. We have videos about that separately. As you know, during the Trump election, she was involved with that too, trying to understand what's happening, trying to see, figure out what would be the best for humanity. Even though she made some perhaps um, you know, uh, decisions that may not be supported by everyone, because at some point she decided, okay, I'm going to support Trump because she believed, well, out of she just wanted innocently to have faith in someone with really good intentions for people. She was still innocent like that. She wanted to believe, simply. It was just that. It wasn't her stupidity or her error of, analysis. In that case, I think what won her, one here was her innocent sense of idealism and wanted to believe that there is someone on earth, politician, whatever, that still cares about humanity. But, well, it turned out differently. Also, if you remember, some years ago, they had this plan, and they presented this plan to the federation. It was during the Trump elections as well, where they wanted to take over the media. They had this very specific plan to kind of take over, uh, not in a very drastic or invasive way. No, no, it's just subtle influences, but more direct influences behind the media. But that plan was rejected again by the higher levels of the federation, and all of this was just breaking her heart more and more, seeing how just it was so hard to get, you know, things done or get through to people, being questioned all the time, left and right, not being able to do more, being restricted by the federation rules of contact with which actually she did not agree. And in some video, it was mentioned that her idea for a contact with the more awakened, ready star seeds was to create like a work group and work with them and even have a video conference. But it was just all rejected, and she felt like, she was like stuck in her efforts. And um, and yeah, being questioned all the time, left and right, all the motives being questioned and etc. And like I have to say this because okay, some people say, okay, so we cannot question now, but you always encourage us to question. Well, yes, people can question, but at the same time, when people begin to question every single thing, including even death, even the news of death, what it is questioned by some. I mean, it's like we are then going back to zero. It's like then I mean, this line of questioning can be infinite. Then and then everything and anything can be questioned. And then, like, what are we doing then? Like, what's the purpose of our work? I mean, at some point in this process of wanting to bridge those races together, ours and theirs, there has to be some sort of okay. Well, I'm questioning, but at the same time, we want to get closer to them. So we have to embrace. Um, what we say. I mean, at the same time, I know it sounds. I'm not sure I'm explaining myself right. And it's not like we want to accept everything that we say mm, without questioning. But I'm just saying that you have to put yourself in our position when we know 100% what this conflict is about, what these people are about, and how much they care, and how much we care, and how much we want to, already raise the level of cosmic understanding on Earth, and then we always bump into this. But we are supposed to question everything. Well, yes, but at the same time, I mean, if you start questioning everything, then there's like, then how do we achieve, us coming together with them? Because unfortunately, there cannot be any other proof at this point, as people want, as people want. So yes, she was always questioned. Going back to this, to the main thread, and this affects them as well. Also, another thing that was a high pressure for her is was that not only they are watched by the people on Earth, by the Federation, but also by other ET races, because what they're doing it's kind of new. Yes, there are ET contacts. Yes, there are ET communications and experiences and all that. Of course, they are very present, but what they are doing, Tagetans and Svarunians, is not very common. of course, to pass so much information to people, and in this way, especially in this kind of way. So they are watched by many ET races. Everything they do is observed and analyzed, and not only what they do is analyzed, but then people's reactions are analyzed. How people are perceiving this contact, and this is all under scrutiny of many extraterrestrial races, and not only. So it's a lot of pressure. So as all this pressure, everything I mentioned and more, I'm just making a this huge summary. As all this pressure started to accumulate, she literally physically started to manifest. I mean, high blood pressure that was constant, and that's not good because, as you know, high blood pressure it's not something to maintain. It's gonna start to slowly destroy your organs, and that's what happened. She was never able to stabilize her blood pressure. It was always on. It was just too much all the time, and she started to manifest physical symptoms, like for example, her eyes. The veins in her eyes somehow exploded, and actually, she lost part of the sight. She was kind of half blind for the last year or so, or maybe even before that. Yes, at some point, actually, even Yaski did some sort of healing on her, and um, and it worked, but it went back because you have to heal the cause, the root of the problem. Otherwise, the physical situation will come back. Also, she was offered an operation, a surgery by Seneca, but she was also refusing it because apparently she was talking. I don't remember now. She was saying that there were some side effects, possible side effects in the future, or yeah, I don't remember exactly. That was the main reason. That there was some side effects, and she didn't want that. And also, she knew that whatever was going to be done on a physical level will come back if she doesn't heal first the root of the problem. So she knew that the root of the problem is within her, and that's what she was trying to address. However, not only her eyes started to have problems, but also her organs in general started struggling because that high blood pressure was affecting them more and more. And finally, she was instructed to remove herself from online work to heal. It was very annoying for us as well because she was coming online all the time, and then she was saying that she was sick or she cannot see, or her half blind. Or Yaski was telling us that she's sick, that she couldn't be online, and then the next hour, Aneka is online talking. So I really was annoyed. I was like, Aneka, you have to go away. I mean, why do you feel this pressure? Like, it's not coming from us for sure. We've never pressured them or her eat with us or to pass information. That was just always super important to me to make them understand that you have to do this if you want to do this because you want to do this. There's nothing coming from me that should make you like you are pressured to do this. It's a teamwork. If you feel you need to go to have rest, go. I'll understand. Health first. But she was never following any of that. She was just coming back and coming back and coming back, and it was just so tiring in a way to hear about this all the time, about her sickness, and her not doing anything about it. And people would tell her, like, if you don't heal this, if you don't, remove yourself, you might die. You might die. I mean, look what happened to Svetlana. So she knew the risks. She knew what was going on. And we were telling her, like, if you don't heal yourself, then we will lose you. We'll lose you. And then what? Um, well, she was always refusing to. Doctors make the worst patients. Yes, Ro, exactly. Um, so she was finally instructed to remove herself from online work to heal. We also told her, go away. Everyone was worried. And it's like, this is happening last year and a half already, just accumulated. I'll tell you why later we didn't say anything. And you also have to remember that they cannot instruct things. They cannot order anything among themselves. Even though there is a leader, there is a queen and all that, it doesn't work earth. So they don't have to listen. It's like a recommendation. Everyone is free to decide what they want to do. And Aneka simply cared too much about this project, this work, the humans, all of you, that she just kept pushing herself more and more and coming online. Um, I remember I even told her once, if you don't go away for a week or so, I'm gonna block you. Like, I'm gonna literally block you. You're not gonna be able to see me online. Apparently, that made her very sad because she didn't want to be like disconnected from her friends. She's very social because you're not just working subject, we're just talking too. But the thing is that even talking online trains them very much. It trains everybody. It trains me, but especially her. So around January this year, I think it was the last time I spoke to her. I remember because finally she agreed to remove herself from online interactions, um, and try to heal. And that's when more or less, or even before that, I remember Athena took over. You remember when we came and said, "Listen, this is going to be not the time that Athena will have some rest, and Athena will take over. She'll be in charge." Well, that was the reason, and and that so here you have the indication already that something was wrong with Anika. We didn't explain the details, but that was the reason. And why didn't we explain the details? Because that was her will. That was Aneka's decision. She didn't want people to think, in her perception, that she's weak. She didn't want to be perceived that way. She didn't want people to feel that she's leaving them, or that or no that yeah, that she's weak. And I remember big conversations. I was telling her, Anika, just because you're sick, it doesn't mean you're weak. I mean, everybody gets sick every now and then, and you don't have to feel bad about this and beat yourself up about this. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But she just didn't want that. She didn't want people to know. We just agreed together that we just gonna just say she needs some rest, and Athena will take over. And also because Anika had this idea that she will come back. She wanted to come back at any moment. She thought in the beginning it's gonna be just 2 weeks or maybe a month, and then it was like extending, extending. She wasn't getting better. She stabilized, but she wasn't getting better. So her idea was she was gonna come back at any point. Um, Something is wrong with the sound again. Okay, can you tell me if the sound is okay? Someone is saying that the sound is bad now. See, that's what was happening in the Spanish channel as well. Maybe my webcam simply is getting old. Dale, it's terrible. Holy, yeah, that's exactly what was happening in the Spanish channel. Okay, um, the problem is that I cannot change the output as I am doing the live. I will have to disconnect and come back. You know what I mean? Because that I can connect to the other microphone now. Okay. Okay. Well, no voice. I'm not speaking now. Okay. Now, see, some people say sound is bad. Others say sound is fine. Whatever. And people are saying I need to speak slower. Do you actually know that I'm speaking slowly? In my mind, I'm speaking so much faster. In the Spanish world, I was speaking much faster too. And I'm actually making a conscious effort now to speak slowly. I normally speak very fast. This is slow for me. So I don't think I can slow down anymore. It's going to feel very unnatural for me. Okay. So let's continue. Okay. Let's just continue. I will try to speak slower just to, so the sound comes through. Um, okay. So okay, so she pulled away, and Athena was in charge. As you noticed, there were no new reports from Anika. That's the reason she was trying to recover. So as you see, this was nothing sudden. I know it comes as a shock to you, and I understand then, why you have these confusions, some of you, because you didn't know about her condition, and that was because Aneka herself wanted it that way. We had to respect that. But for us, it wasn't anything new. It was accumulating for a long time, and we had a lot of discussions in private about what to do about this. So when she pulled away, she stabilized, but she did not get any better because her focus was still here. Her focus was still very much on 3D, on the human affairs, on the human problems, on the whole situation here. So, the best way for her would have been to leave and go to dinner. Relax. Everybody actually was saying that, including us. Aleka, just leave, just go, go. We are not saying leave forever. I mean, come back, but go, heal yourself, recharge, and then come back. She refused to do that. And again, they cannot just instruct their crew members to do something they don't want to do. Alanim, the queen, they cannot just order America to leave. That's not how it works. They have to respect her decision. And now, the biggest question of all, and now you understand even more this whole situation with that pressure accumulating and her organs failing slowly. Medpods. The question is, why wasn't she healed by the medpods? Well, there are two reasons. First reason, and I'll explain this in a little more detail in a bit, is because medpods don't heal these types of problems that originate in the spiritual, emotional, psychosomatic realm of things. Two, and that's the most important reason, actually, Aneka never went to the medpod. She refused to go into the medpod. Just like she refused the eye surgery, just like she refused to go away from the computers, just like she refused to stop working and caring for the humans, she never wanted to go to the midpod because that would mean she would be absent for at least weeks or months. And that was too long for her. She did not want to leave her post. She believed that whatever job she was doing, no one else was doing. She needed to do what she was doing. She needed to do that intelligence work. Yes, it was suicidal for time, and that's why, including myself, everybody on the ship was very angry about this. Um, because, she just was ignoring herself too much, sacrificing herself for what? It wasn't necessary, I believe. So she refused to go to the med pod because she didn't want to be away for such a long time. She always used to say, um, "The cabal doesn't stop. Why should I?" And she believed she had always had to be on duty, doing all kinds of things. Um, that's why, she didn't want to go to the pod. Um, Another reason why she didn't wanna go to the pod because, like I said, um, she knew that her problem was internal and that she had to heal it naturally herself. She wanted to heal this naturally. So she was giving herself this as a challenge because they know how the sicknesses, originate. That's why she wanted to address this naturally. Because they are very much into natural modes of healing as well, not just technological. They're actually reverting more and more something we always say to natural, to simple, to artistic. And that's how she wanted to heal herself. She believed she had the power, to do this. And actually, she was getting more and more angry at herself when she was seeing that her body was failing and that her body was refusing to heal. Because she believed she should be able to do that. And and her body was failing her. So I'll talk a little bit more about medpods in a second, but now, um, let me just continue with this timeline of events. So when she was pulled away from the online interaction with us, we didn't talk to her at that time much. or at all, it doesn't mean she was not busy. She continued to do other tasks behind the scenes. However, and here where another problem comes. Uh, see, I'm gonna answer the questions maybe a little bit later. Yes. So here another problem started to happen was that not being able to come online and do this work with us, passing the information and sharing what she knew with people, started to cause her a very deep depression. She started losing purpose of life because she believed that dedicating herself to this work was her purpose of life. We didn't know this from her. We actually know this from Yaski later, who told us this, that, you know, in the times of absence of Aneka, we didn't talk to her anymore, but Yaski told us that she was just withering away more and more. She was not happy at all with anything. She started losing interest in the things she always was interested in, and she just lost purpose of life, depressed more and more because if she couldn't do this work, then what's the purpose of her life? Then why stay? She lost interest in staying in the physical realm as Aneka. So now, on top of the high blood pressure that was slowly shutting down all her organs, exploding her eyes and all that, um, she started to have depression. And as we know, and we also mentioned that in the videos, in their society, depression kills. It shuts down the vital organs, literally, it kills them. Um, so she started to just not be herself anymore. Um, in the last days, she felt unconscious. So she wasn't even conscious anymore. Her health suddenly went bad. And now, yes, someone could say, okay, at this point, they could put her in the med pod because she was unconscious, just put her. She's unconscious anyway, so she can't do anything. The thing is that, just like we explained before with the situation of Alahi, uh, you cannot put anybody in the pod if they are not stabilized. So she was not stabilized. They wanted to put her in the med pod. When they managed to stabilize her, they didn't manage to do that because just her will of life wasn't there. And and they were not able to do that. She at the last days, she like went up, she got a little better, then she went down and then up, and then finally she just died. And Senetre, who is the doctor, said that analyzing all that situation, they this would happen to anybody, human or not. It was just too much for her, too much pressure, stress, because that's a very general term. Stress killed her. It's it's a very general term, but basically it could be summarized this way. But as I explained, it's much more complex than that, and it was very accumulative. But stress kills even here on Earth. It's a silent killer, right? Everybody knows that. As I have here from the website, chronic stress is linked to six leading causes of death, including heart disease, cancer, lung ailments, accident, cirrhosis of the liver, and suicide. This happens also on Earth. It's just slower. We don't link it to stress as much because it manifests longer, but basically that there everything manifests much faster. So I hope it's clear for now. Okay, what I'm explaining now. Let's talk a little bit more about the medpod. I am hoping to make a video actually about the medpod soon. Actually, I suggested that to Yaski. I said that this is a good moment to explain exactly what medpods there in their society are for and what they are not for, how they function, and we might do that. But generally, the medpod regenerate the cells. They heal the symptoms. They can regrow your limbs. They can rejuvenate you, but they will never treat the cause of the problem that lies in the spiritual, mental, emotional realm. And that's where the problem was. So pods don't treat that. So no amount of technology, because people are saying so advanced and so technological and they cannot heal that. No, because no amount of technology can fix your soul, your broken soul. If you have no will to live, if your soul decides to just leave and shut down, there's nothing, no amount of technology that can keep you alive. It might keep you, extend your life for a little bit, cover up your symptoms, but the problem will come back. Um, the medpods do not bring back the will to live. You'll get out of the pod and you'll be as miserable as before. And you'll just extend yourself maybe a little more, but very soon your symptoms will come back. And so, first of all, the person has to want to go into the pod. She refused that. And second of all, the pods don't heal these types of problems. Um, Yaski here have uh, has expressed herself. I'm going to translate this from Spanish, just a few sentences about the pod, and she says the pod uh, corrects the body problems, okay, but not the soul. If the soul wants to go, it goes. Period. The pod can correct the body, but as soon as the person comes out, if they haven't healed the psychological part, they will fall back again into the same pathologies that created the problem in the first place. So you need to remove the cause of the problem, what 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 made the person manifest the problems, and not only heal the body. Another factor is that Anika refused to enter the pod for her own decision, trusting that she could heal herself. And as I said, she trusted she could heal herself because she knew that the root cause of her problem was mind. So, yes, thank you very much, Eva Carolina Vargas. Please, only English, español solamente, por favor, chicos. We are now in English live. Um, I'm going to look at the chat later and see the questions. Okay. Exactly. People need sunshine for happiness. Michelle, they on the ship, they don't even have that. They are stuck in the tin can for years where there's very little natural life. They have a small park, but it's very little. And that also will be explained a little bit in the video about Anika. She'll talk about herself. Okay, well, let's continue. Now, someone also mentions about her age. People are saying, "Wow, she was 23, but wasn't it said that they live up to 1,000?" Well, again, they can live up to 1,000. I mean, I'm smiling because it's a bit like a silly comment for me or silly thing. Okay. They can live up to 1,000 or so in their ideal situations, in their homes, when there's no cabal, no matrix, no negativity, no papayas, no nothing, no questioning, no attacks from people, no attacks from other federations members, just happy living somewhere in a hut on the beach, where their life is peaceful, harmonious. They have their pods to regenerate themselves. They have this and that. That's in those circumstances they can live up to that age. But she was basically in a war. She was a soldier that just died in a war, so to speak. And if you have a soldier here on Earth that goes to Iran or somewhere and dies at 18, for example, too early, 20, uh, I mean, would people ask the same question? Like, wait a second, but on Earth people live up to 80. How come he died when he was 20? Well, because of that, because of the circumstances are different here. What killed her was different type of life than she would have if she was in Temer. That's why we all insisted go back to Temer, go there for at least a month to regenerate. But she didn't want that. She did not want that. Uh, now, as I said, this is all very sad. It was all very sad for us, is because I wanted to meet her. You know, we were talking about this very often that we wanted to meet somehow, sometime, some point in the future. Uh, we wanted to meet, and it's like we first had Svaru Ferra, our best friend, and then Aneka. As I said, I don't talk to anybody else, so they're my only friends. So I feel this big emptiness. But not only we lost a friend, that's what I felt today, actually, to tell you. Not only that I feel that we lost a friend, but I felt like I lost a really big ally in this project, in this cause, because there was almost no one, except for Smarus, of course, that feel so much dedication to this project and to this cause and to how important it is from our perspective. So I feel like I lost this ally, at the front line we are going and we are kind of aligned with the same purpose here. Now I feel like that the amount of people is shrinking because Targetans, they are doing other things. Some of them honestly do not even believe that what we are doing is so crucial. Others, yes, they do believe in it, but others have doubts, and or whether it's even worth it because as they see their friends die doing this. So, um, so having these, frontline soldiers with the same sense of cause for this we are shrinking. They're shrinking numbers because now we only have Yaski. Of course, me and Robert we don't count. I'm talking about them up there. Now we have Yaski, of course. Athena doesn't come online right now. She's also busy with leadership things. Actually, she's involved on higher level things. We don't know exactly. Uh, and the boys don't come online. So they basically have Yaski, as this as a continuing force in this. Um, Okay, another thing I wanted to say is that uh, what bothers me, and I use this moment to say this. What bothers me that sometimes people say, and especially in the Spanish channel, I think that uh, when Esvaro of Erra finished her project, she transcended. After that, they feel it was like a fake disclosure that something happened. It wasn't real anymore after that. And this comment always bothers me because they are forgetting about Anika. What about Anika? Anika was here from the beginning till now. So these comments before and after Zvaru, like before Zvaru was here, that was real, and then it was false. That's I feel is offensive to Anika, who was here since the beginning, and she was always the same. She was a constant. What about Anika? Why is it false after Zvaru? I mean, Anika is still here. So is she false now too? Uh, so everybody always puts Svaru first and thinks about Svarus. And yeah, this is like their main project. But Anneka was a very important force in this. And she was the constant, she was the continuous force in this. And people forget that. As Svaru 9 and then Yaski and then Athena, Anneka was always present. She was super sharp, always super witty, very funny, very funny. She liked to curse, actually, something we don't include in the videos, but in our private conversations. She liked to, learn some some insults, like I don't know, some funny hard words, and it was. She said that they don't have that in their language, and she finds it interesting because she said those words have an emotional charge that other words cannot express. So that's why she enjoyed it. But of course, that was only the private, realm of things. I miss, when she was coming online late at night, and she was just saying, "Hey G, hey G, hey G, are you on? Do you have a second? Do you have a minute?" Hey G is because Dale Harder. By the way, I think he's in the room. Hello, Dale. Dale Harder calls me G. So that's Anika, also called me G. So I miss that. Um, um, I miss that. Sorry, I'm distracted by the chat. I miss that. She would come online late at night. She would consult me things. Hey, G, you have a minute? Let me ask you something. This and that. Um, and like I said, I never seen anybody actually, except for Zvarus, perhaps yes, but Aneka is a constant. Anybody with so much dedication to give this information to the people, all kinds of information. Even I didn't care so much about the results in the end. Of course, I do, but like I said, I have my limits about caring. But Aneka, it seemed like it was just affecting her so much. Um, so you have to understand, she never forgot about humans. She never forgot about you. Even when she was pulled away from the online interaction, she never stopped thinking about everything on Earth, and not being able to be close to you, to us. It it made her develop depression, and it eventually killed her. So being away was supposed to heal her, but in the end, being away also was what killed her at the same time. So, she never wanted to take breaks, never wanted to go to the pod, never wanted to heal. You have to understand that. Um, Now, let me just take a very short break to see the comments in the chat. See, is the crew okay? Can you tell us something more about the current situation? What exactly events make her feel so stressed? Well, I explained in the beginning what led her to feeling so bad. I you have to rewind. I'm not sure if you watched from the beginning. In the beginning, I was explaining all that. Um, and the crew, well, I'll also mention that a bit later. But of course, they're sad. Uh, but okay, I'll get to that. Uh, okay, how did the others react? Yeah, so I'll get to that. Now, here, the question was, someone asks, how do they see pain? How do they see, death, someone dying? And Lasky here responded to me some time ago here recently. Very similar. It just that the only difference is that, thank you very much, Duromax. The only difference is that the death is not seen here as something definite from the point of view of the dead person. So of course they have a higher understanding of what the death is, and of course there is no death, right? But in that sense that the soul doesn't die, that you continue on, that you have always been around, and there is no death from that expanded metaphysical point of view. But of course, losing friends, with that specific particular face and with those specific particular preferences, dancing around, whatever, it's still sad because you lose that specific friend in that body, that soul in that body. So they still get sad. Also, you have to remember it's different when someone dies in their society after a very long life, happy and fulfilling life, and they are dying in peace because they just decide to, and they are basically not suffering or anything. But it's different when they see their dear friend uh, decaying in front of their eyes more and more, mentally, spiritually, physically, and not being able to do anything about it. That makes them super sad because they had to suffer. They had to see her suffer in life, and it's different, It's different when, like I said, when someone dies in their society. And um, and also here someone made a comment, "Oh, um, you don't need to cry when someone dies just to be happy, uh, because they will be able to choose their next life, whatever." Yeah. Yes, yes, they understand that as well, of course. But like I said, they're still sad. They still get sad. I mean, they lose a cat on board and they get very sad. They're also much more emotional than us. So, um, yes, Michelle, did she just basically retire her body? And I have a little theory about this as well. Can Yasuki consciousness contact Aneka soul? Well, uh, I didn't ask her. Actually, Yasuki has been online for some days. I would have to ask her. I did ask Yasuki if she tried to communicate with Aneka's consciousness when she was unconscious. And Yasuki said, "Yes, I did, but there was no answer." So she couldn't find Aneka. Now, I asked about how Yasuki is doing and how the others are doing. Yes, Yasuki said that she feels a bit better. than others, because according to her, Yaski sees this as something that Aneka planned. Yaski said here, last month Aneka was saying that her life had no purpose. She was losing interest in anything, didn't take care of herself. She was not like Aneka we knew. Very sad inside, even angry. And angry because if this divulgation, this project was over for her, well then why stay? She wanted to leave. Cienio Castillo, thank you very much. Um, now, whether now you assess this as correct or not correct, the way she felt, that's the way she felt. This is actually something that I learned from them with the interactions with them, that they don't always just they don't assess how the person feels, whether right or wrong. It just that's the way the person feels, and we need to respect that. That's the way it is. Of course, you can offer, perspectives to help the person, or whatever, but in the end, they are embracing always their feelings. So whether Aneka losing purpose in life was something that you agree with or not, that's another subject. But that's how she felt. Um, Dorcalel, very bothered, of course. Yes, he said that. But at the same time, as a man, yes, his words, he's trying to be the useful one during these difficult times for everybody and strong. That's all I know. Uh, Toleka, everybody, of course, is very sad, but Toleka remains here in the orbit. They have too much work to do, and they are still very much involved. They are still very much involved in various political situations with the Federation, with the Earth. They have their staff on Earth, step downs, and whatever. They're talking about staff on Earth, uh, important as well. Aneka and Svaru and Alahi, they are not the only people that actually died. There are always actually sad and tragic events happening. Um, and just recently, they actually lost one of the step downs, a Shinonim, who is a female equivalent of Hashmalims, who was down here as a step down in the operation. She was lost in action. They lost her in action, died. And no one talks about her. No one talks about these people. We sometimes don't know, but you have to understand this. So this is not something, it's not just that America dies and Israel died, and not only them. And and we have to, pay tribute to those people as well because they are anonymous. They lose their lives. They are here also for us to help, and they don't get any credit ever. But it happens. Just last year or so, they lost also. Well, there was a Urma crew member they were very friends with, very important crew member among Urmas, the cats, and he also died. I don't remember now the circumstances. One of them was actually also killed somewhere. He was piloting the ship. He was shut down. So I don't remember exactly. Also, I lose all track of all these different events because there are so many. So one of the cats also died. Um, now, oh, my back hurts sitting like this. Yes, exactly, Calvin. Folks, please understand we are very much in war. This is a war that's been going on for a long time, and there are casualties. And no amount of technology can save you from that in, situation like this happen. All kinds of situations. Um, Diana is asking, will she have depression in her next life? I don't know. Some of that nostalgia might carry, indeed, um, for sure. But I believe what mostly will carry is her desire to help and dedication and her passion to be here. So I believe she's going to be around. Let me just actually address this at the end. So, Dr. Alex, who is a Spanish follower and doctor, he is quite known in the Spanish community because he has actually done a lot of work in the last 2 years. He's an awakened doctor. He does conferences and all that, trying to awake people. And he's also our follower, even though I hate that word. I don't know how else to say it. Follower, our audience, our friend of our information, our supporter. Um, he actually left a small short audio for the Anika, and I'm going to include that in a Spanish version of the video. And in that video, he's instructing all of them or suggesting that they make a plaque, like a commemorative plaque on the ship, plaque, not plague, plaque, like those in in Hollywood on the floor, in the name of Anika. And yes, he said that they will do that, but it's too soon. And she also mentioned, and I'm mentioning this as a fun fact for you, she also mentioned that actually in Toleka they have a special place for different plagues. How do you say that? Okay, forget this. I know there's a problem with the audio. I'm not going to use this microphone with, I think it's a webcam because I'm using the webcam audio. I think it's just getting old. I'm going to have to start using a different microphone. Okay, because I never had problems with it before. I'll just speak slower again. So anyway, those plaques, plaque. Okay, they have a special hallway where they have those plaques. And some of them actually are in the name of terrestrials, humans, so to speak, terrestrials. And one of them, a fun fact, some of them are Ferestal, JFK, Diana Spencer, Salvador Freixedo, who's a UFO investigator, and many more, Alahi, Tus Varus, and one of the synonyms who recently fell in action. And now Robert, who was present in the memorials. Yes. Thank you, Alan. Um, okay, I'll try to stay quiet. I still try it and prove. And Robert asked, "Oh, terrestrials, you have like human names there?" And interesting answer from Yaski, even though we already know this. She says, "On Earth, there are no terrestrials. It's just a matter of perspectives." And these are not the only people that they have there, other people as well. So now I have a few more questions to address, and then maybe I will look at the and the look at the chat. The people were asking about her reincarnation. Okay, so how long will it take to rebirth for the ETs? Well, this question, even though it's understood, and at the same time, it's coming from a sort of a limited human mentality about how their rebirthing works, because it's not linear as we think. It's not that we die, and in that moment, that person decides to go somewhere else. So it's like from A to B. And we talked about this in one of the videos. But when you die, you go into the space where there is no space-time realm, some sort of a, between lives, souls, however you would want to call that. And from that realm, you can actually spawn back, re-emerge, have your signal of soul return at any point in the physical. So it could be even in the past of that so-called person, or it could be in the future, or it could be already living somewhere at the same time. So I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but Aneka could be alive already somewhere in Taigeta or maybe incarnating as Urma. We don't know. I doubt it. Or among humans, or who knows? We don't know. Yaski or them, they they haven't located her exactly. However, I will say, however, and I don't want to say any more details. Don't speculate. But uh, there is like an idea of where her essence could be. Maybe we'll be able to say more in the future, but for now, it's still in a maybe realm, and it's kind of still. not developed that concept exactly in their understanding. Well, it could be that, yes, but I don't wanna say anything yet because it's just like dropping something and not revealing the rest. So I'm just gonna say that it's possible that the essence of Anika is around. And as you know, that's how it works, so don't be surprised. They are very used to that. That's why when they say there is no death is because of that. The person dies, your body dies, of course, so you are sad because, that person with that face is not around anymore, but that soul is emerging somewhere. Now, yes, tried and proven is saying, "I hope she chooses not to return but elevate." Yes, and many comments said that, "Oh, hopefully she goes back to source or she goes to higher realms and all that." And I don't think so. Like, yeah, okay, maybe between lives, in that space between emerging in the physical, she's recharging somewhere, and I hope so. But knowing her, I don't think that she's gonna be there for a long time. I don't think I think she's too attached to Earth, too attached still to being around here. It's not done what she has accomplished. She doesn't feel that at all. She didn't feel that at all. So I don't think I think she will be back. She'll be around. And like I said, why I say that, because this is how it works. If you see that you are very attached still to the ideas, and especially her, she felt she failed. She felt disappointed with herself, with her own body. She was angry. She was angry she couldn't continue. So she wasn't done. Her soul was not in peace about this at all. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna find a way to continue, or she already has, I don't know, because it's no time. Um, so and I know I would probably be back as well if something happened to me, for example. So that's what I feel about this. And also here, about this sensation of failing, she had. This is another thing that contributed to her always feeling inadequate or not doing enough, wanting to do more, is that from the very day she was born, she felt like she was not enough, or that she was rejected, or she was failing. And that's because, I don't know if you know this in detail in the English world, I don't remember how much I said about this. Do you know actually the story of Aneka's birth? And people in Spanish world, they know more. Aneka, when she was born, actually she wanted to be born as a starseed, as a Mexican girl. She actually attempted to come in from the source, not immersion, as a Taigetan starseed, and she planned. Yes, okay, yes, you know. She planned to be born as a Taigetan starseed in Mexico. But her mother, the terrestrial mother, decided to reject her, abort her. So before that abortion could be, when she was aborted, and now I don't know exactly the details, I don't remember, my memory is Taigetans located her and they abducted her, they took her out, and they took that developing fetus, who was Aneka, and they took her to Temmer, where she continued to develop in a pod. And then when she became a baby, she grew. She was fully targeted at that moment, her genetics and everything. She grew up as an orphan in an orphanage. So in her subconscious mind, she always had that feeling of being rejected and failure. Because she was always telling me, "No, I wanted to be starseed on Earth, and I even failed at that." So she always felt like she was failing, that she was not doing enough, that she was always getting rejected. So this is something that just was haunting her, forever. It was her shadow, so to speak. So all this I'm telling you so you can get this broad context about her personality, her psychology, and what led her to decide to just basically abandon her vehicle. Now about abandoning her vehicle, I have a little theory, and I have a feeling that because Mecca wanted so much to continue this project, to continue this work, but she couldn't because her body wasn't allowing her, and she lost purpose of life. I feel like in this point, Aneka was like, okay, if I cannot continue to do this as Aneka, I'm just gonna get out of this vehicle and I'm gonna just come back, more stronger in a fresher, healthy body as someone else. So that's my feeling that that's what she was feeling on the soul level. Um, so I don't think she's like back, back in the source and just ascending to the higher levels. Um, Yes, Charlie Kennedy, they took well, it wasn't the baby. She wasn't a baby yet. She was not a baby yet. She was like at some point, she was at the fetus state, I think. They took her from her mother's womb. Now, if I make an error about this, I'm very sorry because I do not exactly remember every single detail of the story because there's just so many things always going on, as I tell you, and a lot of stories, a lot of personal stories. So sometimes I lose the details. Yes, she's a warrior soul. She's here. Exactly. That's what I feel as well. I'm almost done with this life. We are almost finished. Now I have just two more comments. First comment, I want to say hello and extend my feelings of I'm sorry, about all this to all the people that Annika talked to because they are there. They're anonymous and uh, maybe watching this. And I know she was their friend as well, which was actually another reason she was always so tense and felt this pressure because she felt this pressure to talk to so many people that she herself established as friends. But then it was too hard for her to maintain everybody, and she felt sad about this. And, just she was just pulled in a million directions and pressure all over. I'm not talking about the people now, her friends. I'm talking in general. Um, so hello to all the friends of Aneka as well. I know how you feel. Um, Also, my last comment is this. What I don't like about any of this is that, you know, sometimes the work of someone is like gains value when they die or when they sacrifice themselves for it. And I don't like that because death, her death, it shouldn't be what makes her uh, so valued or her work valued. She didn't need to be a martyr. She doesn't need to be made into a martyr and how she sacrificed her life. Yes, she basically did. She did. That's fact. But it didn't have to be this way. And I was even angry. We were angry. Everybody was angry that developed this to such a degree. This didn't have to happen. On a soul level, probably it had to happen. Always has happens how it's supposed to be. But from our perspective, it didn't have to be this way, and there's no need for any of you out there, and I'm talking to Yaski, Athena, and all the rest, to be martyrs, to sacrifice yourself to such a degree for your work to be of value, to be of value. So I want to celebrate also here Yaski and Athena and everybody else who ever gave us information and knowledge and their wisdom, because they don't have to be dead for that to be of super special value. Because sometimes that's how it happens when people die. They become like special. We pay tributes to their life work, but it doesn't have. I mean, they don't have to die for us to appreciate that. And that's what I want to say. Okay, so let's appreciate everything Yaski gives us. There's going to be more information coming from her. Okay, no one else has to die ever, and we'll yeah, because I don't like this, and I don't want this to be like I don't want her now to be. This is very important. Even though she did sacrifice her life basically for this, but I don't want it to be like some kind of idolatry around that fact. Because I also heard some comments from the Spanish. Oh, it's like Jesus. No, what is worshiping her? Jesus sacrifice. No, I don't want it to be any. No one. We didn't say that. We didn't say that. This last thing they want as well didn't have to happen. That's my point. We value her because we value her, but not because of her death. That's my point. We value also Lasky's work and Athena's work and everybody else. And no one has to die, ever. No matter. Yes, that's right. So that's my information. I hope you understand better the situation and what happened. Um, I want to also say hello to Dor Kalel, who maybe not many of you know, but he was her brother. Now, yes, I said that she was an orphan. This is when it gets complicated. We never really told the story because there's so many stories. We don't want to like saturate you with these stories. Sometimes it's too much even for people. So just focus on the information. But Dor is Aneka's brother, but not exactly. This is where the human understanding and its capacity gets stretched a little. This is where all the loops come into the picture and variants and all that. It's her brother, but not exactly in that sense. Aneka is like Aneka brother because she was an orphan. But it has to do with Dorcalel also having to do with the Mexican family. I don't want to give you details now because I don't want to, but because I don't fully remember now the story. It's been like a lot of stories throughout all these years. This was explained to us years ago. I honestly do not remember exactly now. Uh, but I want to say hello to Dorcalel because it was very hard for him. It is as well. So these are my comments. I hope you understand better everything now, and I hope you understand that she was not killed. There's no plot here against her, um, and she did this to herself. This is nothing new. Maybe it comes as a shock to you, of course, but for us, we've been dealing with her conditioning for the last 2 years or so. Okay. So, any questions that you have? See, Gosha, do you think it's rightful for us, for them to feel angry and want to revenge the enemy, the direct cause of her death? The direct cause of her death is this is just too many causes at the same time. The cause of her death is just everything that's happening on Earth in general, with the Matrix, with the Cabal, with the people's conditioning, and with all this. So there's not one specific person here or group, or there's no one to go after here. But of course, it's very okay to even feel angry. However, it was her own responsibility in the end. Okay, you need to understand that she took that upon herself, and everybody is accountable for their own actions. She didn't have to be here. She didn't have to not go to the quad. She didn't have to stay here. In the end, you know, everybody is responsible for themselves. Oh yes, I forgot to say that. So about someone asked me about what's going to happen to her body, and yes, actually, some time ago, I don't know if it was a week ago or so, another ship came from Taiketa named Saska, and that ship is where is it? Oh, okay. It's Saska. It's called, and it's like a supplies ship. Sometimes it brings supplies, or it brings different crew members, or brings back crew members, and they came and they by by now they already took Anika to Temmer. So that's where she will be, she is taken. I don't know what happens after that. I don't exactly remember. I think they do bury the bodies, but now I don't remember exactly the procedure. Um, Ermin, was she attacked in Toleka during 2 months? They did not keep in touch with Earth. It was like 5 months. They did not keep in touch with us. I don't know what other methods they used to keep in touch with Earth. They have other methods as well. Of course, they kept in touch with their step downs on Earth. I don't know anything about any attack. Not that I know of. No. Voice-over actress of Anika, how is she? Claudia, well, she also is sad. Of course, actually, she left me an audio that I will include in the video for Anika. It's gonna be Anika talking about herself. And then at the end, we'll have 4 or 5 messages from different people, um, and Claudia's message will be included as well. There is a question in English, but in Polish, uh, if the photo we are using of Anika is really her, or is it just a random photo? Yes, it is her. It is her face. Everything else is added, but it's basically her face. Oh, Kosha, you told us before the Tagatans who wrap the body in linen and berry. Very good. Thank you for that. You have good memory, better than mine sometimes with all these details. Just too much for me sometimes. I'm taking now special pills, actually, or special supplements to strengthen the memory and cognitive function. Now, Infi is asking, do you think that when she comes back, which I don't doubt, will she communicate with you and will know that she's her? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. Or maybe her soul has different plans. I don't know. I don't no idea. Might be. That would be awesome. Do Taigetans cultivate spiritual detachment? Do they have a philosophy around such? They have just a overall broader understanding of different different matters and different concepts. So that, in a way, gives them some sort of a spiritual detachment from different things. Uh, Also, different Taigetans will have different levels of understanding as well. Different people on Toleka, they will have different understanding than in Taiketa because they're in Taiketa, they are older and they dedicate themselves more to spirituality than here. So in a way, in Taiketa, they are more detached from what's going on Earth. For example, here, the ones we deal with, they are very attached to Earth. So also depends what kind of detachments are we talking about to what. Um, Thank you very much, everybody, for being in live. I'm now just answering the questions if there are any. Thank you very much, Mick. Thank you very much, Svetlana, Sirona, Michael Cryan, White Avatar. Thank you very much. Good night to Norway. Gosia, have you talked to Athena and Minerva through Yaski? He is asking, well, no, we only spoke to Yaski, just to Yaski. Svetlana, I might have missed it, but where does Aneka's soul go when she dies? It goes wherever she decides to go. We don't know. No one really truly knows where our loved ones go when they die. It's just, it's them. It's their past, and we don't know exactly. We cannot track them. There's no like GPS on the soul. We can track where they are in the afterlife. Something that would be really cool. Wolfhard, this is important. You made it sound as if Rebecca wasn't properly informed before coming to Earth about the type of environment she would be if that is the case, it is incredibly neglectful. As true, none of them actually are informed. Many of the races actually are informed differently from what's going on here. And it's in a video about Anika that she will talk about herself. Actually, she mentions that she came here, thinking that there is this uh, mm, enslaved race that they came to liberate. And actually, they are very disappointed to see that even among themselves, there is another layer of the matrix that they have to wake up to. And that realization itself was stressful enough to deal with. So yeah. Uh, oh yes, but she will explain that herself better. Does she go into the same afterlife humans go? Um, well, generally speaking, yes, but also the human afterlife is going to be defined by their ideas, and ideas of humans on Earth are different than the ideas of extraterrestrials living outside. So their frequency, because of that, will also be different and it will take them to a different place. But it's all the same place. It's all just afterlife now, but they all manifest something different for themselves according to their own beliefs, ideas, expectations, frequency. No, Arcadia, we do not talk to Dorcalera. We only speak to Yaski right now. Thank you very much, Shirona, as well. Thank you. Many of them, reality forecasts, actually do definitely reevaluate viability of Earth mission. Some of them go home. Some of them, yeah, lose sense of purpose. Um, there's a lot of reevaluating going on around here. Yes, all levels. Uh, well, I'm gonna see if there are any more questions. So any of you who are tired, I want to go rest and do your stuff, you are free to go. Let me see if there are any more questions around here. How is your frequency? Have you been? Someone's asking about how is Gosha your frequency? Where's the question? It left. Have you been visited by the girls to raise your frequency? Not consciously, maybe in my dream somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I'm doing okay. Like I said, this was not new for us. We have been prepared for this for a long time, even though I did not really expect her to die. I really thought she can beat it, and she was really trying to do that. So yeah, but in that first week, in this last week, it was it was sad and heavy, and I still feel that there is a loss in the air, but it's okay at the same time because we all understand what death is and what death isn't, and we have a broader understanding of these concepts, especially after talking to Arunians and Tibetans. So yeah, I'm okay. Yes, Marjana, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, what will be the next videos? C is asking. Um, well, the next video will be the video about nuclear bombs. Okay, this is something I want to say too. We have to continue, okay? I feel like the last thing Anika would want for us to stop and to, slack because of this and not to continue sharing the information with the people because this was her purpose of life. So if this was her purpose of life, I feel doing this, even sharing other material that I have from her, which I still do, is it's only paying respect to her and paying tribute to her this way because this is what she would want. She would want that everything that she shared is shared with you. So having said that, I have a lot of information still from her, so it will be shared. Um, and we will continue. We'll continue. So the next video will be about the nuclear bombs. This is from Yaski because a lot of people were asking if it's true if the nuclear bombs are real or not. Well, they are not as people are told. This is going to be very interesting information. Now, going back to the question, Danny Vivek, who is going to take the role and work on the ship? I think they are rotating among themselves. There are several people working on that. At the same time, no one really talks to agencies. No one is actually gathering intelligence among that on that level anymore. It's not that interesting to them at this point. Um, I don't know if it ever was. It was kind of interesting to Anika at some time because, yeah, she likes to compare all these different sources and see what she can come up with. Yeah. So that's going to be the next video about the bombs. And then the next video also will be about the galaxies. The galaxies. And this is going to be a combination of Yaski, Aneka, and Astina Svaru. Yaski is also talking to us about how the galaxies crash. We're actually right now experiencing a crash. The M33 and Milky Way are crashing, but something that is not perceived by us. So anyway, so that's gonna be shared, and the video about Aneka, spoken by Aneka, not real Aneka, Claudia, but she's talking about herself with several audio and or video messages at the end. Yes, happy girl, thanks. Each video is important. Yes, there's interesting stuff in each video. Yes. Any other questions? No, Joseph Jackson. No nukes will be detonated. That's yes, he says in her video. And sorry for the mic problems. I guess it's just that my webcam mic is getting old. I'm going to have to use a different one for the next one. Yes, C. Yes, I'm actually right now with Matthias uploading all those transcripts little by little to the website as well under transcripts attaché, attaché in English. I know it's glitching. It's because my mic must be getting old. Bent, I actually tried to use your microphone. Bent actually was kind enough and some time ago sent me a gift, a microphone he didn't use. And I actually tried to use it right now. See, I have it here. Sorry, it's like bongo hair all over it. And it's broke too, so I have it taped. But I forgot to click a special setting, so I did not connect this one. It's so weird. Some people say your sound is excellent, other people saying it's glitchy. So what does it depend on? On your connection? Funny. Did you say that Aneka has passed away? Well, yeah. This whole video is dedicated to this, to that. Black cubes, I don't know anything about black cubes. Bongo is good. Thank you very much. Very happy. AJ is asking, is she able to reincarnate in the same way that the Sparrows, like the 110 becoming their own child stuff? No, well, actually, it's possible that she could reincarnate as herself, like look back into herself. I don't think she would do that though. I don't think she would do that for some reason. I think she would just experience herself as someone else. Um, okay, I will try not to move around. However, that means that the microphone is not good if I cannot move around. Because before I used to be able to move around. Thank you very much, Svetlana. Again, I see there are no more pictures. Now, do you have pictures of Toleka? Now, this is interesting. I do not have pictures of Toleka, of course, but I'm going to be making a series on more stuff on the ships and navigation stuff. I have been like putting away these conversations about the subject from different conversations with different people into its folder, and it's called Ships and Navigation. And one of these conversations was actually Athena Svaru making a CGI of Toleka, super detailed CGI. And now we never shared it. It's really cool. With a lot of details on the outside only. The only thing is she didn't finish it. Uh, she was actually working on that before we lost communication before in May. So I have to ask if that would be okay to share that. Yeah, thank you very much, Cesar. Yes, Toleka visuals, but yeah, it's gonna be just one basic visual of Toleka outside. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, I will just go. Uh, is it all more clear now? Do you feel better understanding about what happened and why she say yes or ask something if you still have doubts. Okay. I don't know, Michelle, what that question means. How do holographs? Thank you very much. Infi as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, it's clear. Diana Prodita says. Oh, okay, happy girls as well. Okay, 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 cool, 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 cool. I don't know anything about the black cubes. I don't know exactly in what context. I'm always watching. Hey, Naughty Beaver as well. Hi. Yes, there's going to be some, I think, a few topics by Dor Kalel as well. Maybe not. I don't remember. Maybe one or two. I don't remember. I think so, but I do not remember because I have a lot of things accumulated. Okay, thank you everybody for being here and everybody who's in the chat. Not in the chat. Ah, okay. Black cubes in the Pacific Ocean. Interesting. I don't know anything about that. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody. Love and hugs to everybody, and we continue on. Okay. That's what Aneka would want for all of us to do. So we need to honor that and we march on. Bye, everybody.